Still not hearing Lambi. I don't hear nothing. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. And welcome to your favorite sports program, Sports Wrap. I think that is the biggest sports program in Dominica. I don't think we have any other bigger program. Good night. My name is Lockhart Sebastian. And our forgotten man is here, Ronald Lander. He was having his big party. Good night, Ronald.
Good night, good night, good night.
Yes, and together we have
Emmanuel Loblack.
and
Thompson Fontaine.
Dr. Thompson Fontaine. Yeah, you always forget that one. Dr. Fontaine. Yeah, you always say. Guys, tonight we are going to have a good time. We're going to be talking about Olympics and cricket. That's all we're going to talk about. Olympics and cricket, plenty cricket. We'll be joined by Andrew Mason and Red Spear at 7 o'clock to review the test series. We also have the Dominica team. They're traveling on Sunday, going to St. Lucia for a tournament. We had the under-19. The winners didn't do very well. There's a match going on where two West Indian batsmen got hundreds in Springer and Tolotano. In fact, both of them played for the Windward Islands this year, guys. Both of them played for the Windward Islands. So South Africa replying strongly, 172 for 2. So cricket and Olympic. That's all we're going to be talking about tonight. When we start, yes?
Yes, normally before that you'd have some interesting news. I think.
Well, yes, I'm going to come up with it now. That's why.
Okay.
I'm going to come up. And the news that's going to come up. Have you all been following what's happening in Venezuela? Seriously. Dr. Fontaine.
No,
Absolutely. I've been researching, I've been looking, I've been watching it very, very closely. You know, one of the things I noticed is that a number of persons who before would have supported Maduro have turned against him. We're talking about persons from the slums, persons who benefited from the housing revolution and so on. They have turned their backs on him. And I think that, you know, this time it appears to me like it will not be as it was in 2019 or 2016, but this time it's a lot more serious.
Yeah, but Dr. Fontaine, Ronald Lobby, what struck me is that people are dying in Venezuela. In fact, right now, the opposition leader and the other people, they are in the Argentina embassy. That's where they have taken refuge with police surrounded. And Dominica was the first country to congratulate Maduro. I don't understand it. Yeah, incredible where people are dying. In fact, what was also striking, you know, a number of people went to vote on the day and police stations were closed. They couldn't vote.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, it wasn't government voters, supporters that couldn't vote, obviously. And also, Maduro has said 3 days ago, he said that he will produce the results. Up to now, he cannot produce any results. And I don't know if you heard the Guyana president yesterday saying that he hoped the verification is transparent so that be fair. But it appears that's probably a blatant case of stealing election.
But it is clear from the exit polls, you know, and also some of the records that they've been able to get, that the opposition won by 60-something percent, 67% or so of the vote, you know, and it also backs up the polling that have been going on throughout. There was always the case that people knew that Maduro was going to be losing this one. Yeah. And so the fact that he tried to blatantly steal and he's not able to prove it, he's not able to produce the numbers. He claims he's won.
3 days now.
He cannot see from which, because the opposition, they've been able to get the record from those polling stations. So he's not able to produce this. And he's just trying to stay there against the popular wishes of the population. But I suspect that this may be a very difficult time for Venezuela, you know.
But you know, Dr. Fontaine, I mean, we're in 2024 now, and I'm not going to, how would say it now, bus drivers are human beings. I don't want to say anything disparaging about it. But how in 2024 you have a bus driver as a leader of a country? Let us be real. I mean, we all know Maduro is a bus driver. How can in this tough economic world, how can a bus driver have the intellect to run a country? Let us be fair, guys. The bus driver, as I say, I don't want to say anything bad against bus drivers. They provide a service. They're good people. But let us be real. A bus driver cannot be running a country in this day and age. Guy,
Sibo,
Ronald, yes, Lobby.
Sibo, seriously, what it has shown over the years is that he's not competent enough to govern from day one. That's the problem. He's not. He was handpicked, all right, and he has seen that to stay in power, he know what he has to use.
Hold on. We have a caller. Good evening. Hello. Okay, the caller has gone. Yeah, Lobby, go ahead.
No, I said that what we are saying now, Sibo. I'm just not surprised. But when the tide is turning, Sibo, there's nothing we can do about it.
We have a caller now. Good evening.
Good evening, gentlemen. How are you doing?
We are very good.
Good evening.
And the saddest thing about that, the Antigua Prime Minister congratulated Maduro while people in Maduro country dying. That Mr. Boy congratulated him too. I don't know that is true. I didn't hear that, so I can't repeat.
Yeah, Dominica has released something that they congratulated him. Yeah.
That is wicked. Why 70-something, over 7 million Venezuelan left.
Not
Venezuelan
8 million people have left. 8 million people have left Venezuela. 8 million.
Venezuela, over 7 million people. Let's leave Venezuela and go. And for them people trying to see they can have a proper electoral system that can help them. For Mr. to just want to sit down there and realize, I in power and I'm not going to move. That is wickedness to our people. But Chavez had asked God for some more life. He will ask God for some more life too, when the time is right. And I'm congratulating Simone Biles on her, oh my God, tremendous victory. That's my girl.
Okay, Blue. Okay, thank you. We have another caller. Hold on, Lobby. We have another caller. Hold on. Good evening.
Hello, Lockhart and your studio.
Good night. I recognize the voice. Yeah, go on.
Yes, and your listeners at home and abroad.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you all made a very important point because, I mean, people's life can't be more important than people's life.
Cannot be less important.
Less important
right.
than power. That's the point I want to make. Than power. You've been in power, and these are your people. I saw a young guy who said he voted for Maduro the last time, and he felt, I mean, having spent all this time under this one regime, the last time we gave him an opportunity, and having spent another 6 years, he felt 6 years again with Maduro is madness, and therefore he was out there ensuring that the opposition would have win the election, and then the election was stolen. I saw where people came out to vote, they were in line already. Let's say the poll closed at a certain time, and you are in line before the time to close the poll arrives. Then you're allowed to vote. It happened here too, and you're allowed to vote. If you come in the line, when the time comes to close, then you cannot vote. But once you're in the line already,
Yeah, we seem to have lost. We seem to have lost the caller.
Yes. Hello. Sibo.
And we seem to have lost. We seem to have lost the studio as well.
The studio also.
No, Emmanuel, it is difficult for me to know if the radio is still going on or
like myself. I know something is not right. I can hear you. You can hear me.
Yes. Good evening to everyone.
Good evening
to everyone.
Yes.
I see there's vandalism going up in France. I hope it won't affect the
Olympics. Well,
because I was there watching it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear of any deaths?
Well, we haven't heard. I know about what's happening in England, in Southport, the deadly killing of some young kids stabbed by a 17-year-old. I mean, the guy was charged today, but I haven't followed anything yet from France today. So
Sherman Green.
I just saw that now. It's just coming, guys, now that Sherman Green has passed. No.
Oh.
That's coming now to me that she passed in Miami. Sad, very sad news, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah. Very, very sad news. Yeah.
Oh,
it's coming
so
now.
rest in peace.
Yeah, we have another caller. Good evening.
Hey,
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening. Good evening.
If you all realize that is the pattern of election in Venezuela. Even when Chavez was alive, the same every time election, people always protesting. These people always rigging and stealing election. The last election, not with Maduro, the same problem, They always have that issue. The dictators, I don't know what they're clinging to power for. What they cling, they have everything. They have money that they can spend in their lifetime, but yet they want to cling to power. Them man always feeling, not the first time Maduro, not the first election, they're always doing that.
No, but this time it's worse, caller. This time it's worse. It's worse. We have another caller. Let's see, caller. Good evening. Hello. Hello.
Yeah, greetings, Sibo.
Yeah, what's up, bro? What's up?
You could hear me?
Clearly, we hear you clearly, bro.
Yeah. Greetings to you and Thompson and everything.
Ronald and Lobby, yeah. Okay, and Lobby, yeah. Go on.
Yeah. But Sibo, you know, another thing that strikes me about Venezuela. You know, Venezuela is in the top 3 countries.
Well, we've lost you. I don't know what happened to your phone, Bob Marley. You'll have to call.
I could hear you.
Okay, we hear you now. We hear you now. Go on. Go on.
Yeah, I was saying Venezuela is one in the top 3 countries with the most oil reserves, Sibo.
Mm-hmm.
And to see a country with all that resources and people hungry, it reminds me of Dominica, with over $8 billion and people still balling it. These people are just wicked and all the concern about this power. That's all I'm going to say. Thank you.
You know, there was an interesting statement he made, Dr. Fountain. He said there there will be bloodbath and fratricidal war. Now, that same rhetoric, you remember we had that in Dominica years ago, in a particular village, that about bloodbath, and Maduro mentioned if he didn't win, there would be bloodbath and fratricidal war. Now, for people who don't understand that, it means that brothers will be fighting brothers, the own people will kill in their own society. That's what he was alluding to, Maduro, when he did that statement about there'll be a bloodbath and fratricidal war if he didn't win. Can you imagine?
Well, he's right. He did not win. He wants to cling on to power, and then his prophecies come into pass.
Yes. We have another caller. Good evening.
Good evening, Steve.
Hi.
Steve,
yes.
It is bright and creamy, no? You know that? It is bright and creamy.
I've been hearing that somebody really made that statement in the house.
You did not hear it, Steve? But stuff is bright and creamy.
To be honest, I don't listen to the house because, you know, Dr. Fountain, when you grow up, you look forward to the budget debate.
Yes.
But nobody now takes that on. It's a pappy show, a fast.
It's jobs. You look right, you look left. It's jobs.
And then they say, the guy speak patois. We have another caller. Good night. Good evening. Okay, the caller is gone. Yeah, the budget before was something to look forward to. I'll tell you honestly, I've never listened. I don't know what they're saying. It's only when Lennox was there, he brought excerpts of some of what some of them were saying. But I don't really pay attention to that because it's not a pappy show now. What's happening in the house? 1 minute, Lobby. We have another caller. Good evening.
Yes, see what I was saying in West Flint 2019.
Okay, well,
if we doesn't win election, the blood people of Dominica will be on all you hand.
Well, maybe Maduro was listening to that then. That's why he made that statement. There will be a bloodbath and fratricidal war.
Something also said in the States by, how is name the one that was going up for election in America now? There'll be a bloodbath.
You know him very well. You know his name well, so.
If we doesn't win, Mr. Hairstyle.
Ronald, you have been quiet. Yeah, you've been very quiet.
Yes.
You like Maduro or what?
Yeah. What I want to say, first of all, I would like to extend sympathies to the Green family on the passing of Sherman Green Brown. She was a very good radio personality.
Yep.
And I was unaware that she was sick for a while.
True.
Also, tomorrow, we're going to put Jalwi to rest. And I would like to encourage as many past cricketers as possible to come out to Soufriere to support Jalwi, give him a good send-off. There is something that I learned from Julius Timothy, that the worst thing you can find is a man attempting to hold on to a job that he cannot do. And you see the state of Venezuela now. As somebody said, they've got so much oil reserves
Yep.
and they're not managing it. And people are just leaving Venezuela in numbers, leaving Venezuela while they're trying to fight with Guyana for the little oil that's in Guyana.
I know.
I think Maduro doesn't have the ability to manage Venezuela. His background does not give him the kind of ability to manage Venezuela, similar to what we have in Dominica. And the worst part of it is, at that critical point in time, the Dominican government is congratulating Maduro. Let things settle down. Let's see how things work out in its totality. And then you can commend and congratulate whoever. But things are so controversial now. Things are so iffy now. And there's a lot of evidence that Maduro has tampered with the elections in his favor. So why are we commending him at this material point in time?
You know, let me read something somebody just saying. Vincent, what that? Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Dr. Ralph Gonzalez, on Monday congratulated his strong ally, Venezuelan President Maduro, for winning Sunday's election that was being questioned by the United States and several Latin American countries. Congratulations to President Nicolas Maduro on his re-election. The Venezuelan people have spoken in a free, fair, and democratic process, said Dr. Gonzalez. Can you believe that? I mean, what is wrong with these people? You read all over that this was a fake election, a fraudulent, and you could make a statement like that. No, man, something has been wrong with these guys. Honestly, I mean, this is a joke.
But I think this time, you know, we are going to see quite a lot of protests. We've seen that before in Venezuela, but I think this time it's going to be different because the people, the poorest of the poor now involved, those who once supported Maduro in their numbers. There was a complete breakaway from him. And I think that is going to make a big difference in the protests that we're going to see in the next few days in Venezuela. I don't know if he'll be able to survive it.
We have another caller. Good evening. Good night.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Yes.
Tivo.
Yes.
You are my man of the year for sports, you know, for sports. You are man of the year, my man of the year. Okay, thank you for that. And let me tell you, talking about St. Vincent Prime Minister, birds of a feather flock together. What you expect? You expect anything different? Let's be real. Do you expect anything different?
Dr. Fountain.
And Dominica, congratulate as well. Do you expect anything different? Let us be real. I'm going to come and give me a break. You don't expect anything different.
Thank
the
you,
same thing in Venezuela is the same thing in Dominica.
Thank you, man. Dr. Fountain, I need to ask you a question. Who sets when the House of Assembly is supposed to be meeting? The House of Assembly, one in Dominica. Who is supposed to be in charge of that?
The Prime Minister.
Prime Minister.
Right. Okay. That's why I asked you the question. And nobody has spoken about it this time. You know, this is the umpteenth time. The budget has been read. The debate has started, and the leader of the House wasn't there. And nobody has spoken about it this time. He was not there when the debate started on Monday. He was not there on Tuesday. We heard today he was coming. And as usual, he comes with this big vary, make it entrance, and everybody. This is the umpteenth time. So one would have thought that when Leonard Clinton was speaking, that he wouldn't show up. He wasn't there on Monday when the debate started. And nobody's speaking about that. And the leader of the House must know the date. If he sets the date, as you rightly said, and he's never there. Let's take this caller. We'll come back to that. Good evening.
Yeah, Tibo.
Yes.
Everybody.
Yes.
Tibo, you have to understand, you know, them man fighting, the man moving for the oil, you know. Maduro done gone and that whole oil thing done, you know. You have to understand what's going on. That oil thing has been enriching a lot of these politicians across the region. You understand? So it's not really worry about Venezuela, worry about your pocket in that oil.
Well, that's why I said, bro, how could you have a bus driver in this day and age in a country? So obviously what he does, he butters the Abbey, make sure he takes care of them. Like here, the police have been well taken care of. and a few rich people in Venezuela who's behind him to do his nonsense. That's what's happening.
Yeah, man. Bless. But we gotta, when there's only man have to talk about the state of sports, but we need to forward you're talking about Dominica, because especially after that Olympic done. Because Dominica, sport-wise, in a dire strait, brethren.
I agree with you.
One love.
Take care, bro. Yeah, so we have another caller now. All the lights are going. Good evening. Yeah, hold on, Robbie. That's the only lights good. Good evening.
Yeah.
People,
yes.
The House of Assembly used to be the House of Assembly when you had debate on both sides and you were satisfied. Now it's a show who dressing, who have the most expensive shoe, who can put the longest wig, who have the most felt hat, who can make macaque of themselves. That is what we have now. Is a show, is a dressing show. So it's school children dress and they come out there to show. I have the best shoes, I have the best briefcase, I have the nicest clothes. We in red and pink, we in pink and white, we in black and yellow. It's just a made No. Now it's a House of Assembly to sit down and listen to debate. Now it's a show to see who that dress the best, who that have the expensive shoes, clothing and so on, who can put the most makeup on their face and so here. That is what we have now.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. Yeah, but Lobby, you were making a point.
Yes, Sibona, yes. We've been talking a lot about Maduro. There's something in Dominica we must talk about. I spoke with Dr. Function about that. We have called back there 68 passports. Remember that, people with passports. That's very important topic. How were these people able, all right, to duplicate those passports? And
duplicate, you say?
Well, I call it, that is like counterfeit currency. That's like counterfeit currency right now. You have 68. That's in people from the Middle East, Sebastian. Who knows? There may be hundreds out there. Dr. Fontaine,
let's come back to that. Let's come back to that, Lobby, hold on. Let's come back to that. Let's take this caller. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Sebastian, and to all the gentlemen on the panel.
Yes, good evening.
And to your listeners.
Yes.
So I'm glad you raised that point, because I've been trying to raise it with a few people who can speak on it recently, but I thought nobody was realizing that was happening. But for years now, I've been noticing that the person who holds the seat of Prime Minister has that habit of disappearing, finding excuses, meetings overseas, whatever it may be, to disappear at very key moments when serious debates are taking place on serious issues, and particularly is absent apparently when his name should go on the paper as having supported or not supported particular debate issues. He disappears, and then after whatever votes have taken place, he then reappears, comes back on the scene. As a Prime Minister, he should be present when these debates are taking place in Parliament, particularly when it comes to debates on budgetary issues and when you have signatures being put to paper for things such as the international airport and the deals involved in these things. He disappears and has some excuse and then shows up after.
All right.
I'm glad you recognize that.
Well, yeah, I've seen that, and that happens all the time. That's why I asked Dr. Fontaine who is supposed to be called the sitting of the House, who's in charge of that, and this nonsense happens all the time.
This is a very important point.
Yeah, let's take this call. Good evening. No, all the lights.
He's just showing you all how he runs things. He runs things, remember?
Well, it's about time. It's people that should be running things. It's time people stop that. Go ahead, run.
This is a very important point, and I'm happy this is raised. But another substantive point that we need to pay attention to: we cannot be operating on a 1-year plan for 23 years and going around in circles. And even with that 1-year plan, in the middle of the year, there are supplementary estimates. So there's not even a substantive 1-year plan. By now, Dominica, we should have a 5-year, 10-year integrated development plan for Dominica. And the budget system will be putting it together on a year-by-year basis. The second point that Low Black raised pertaining to the passports. I don't understand what's happening to the passports. Thompson, I'm looking forward to the matter you'll be taking forward in the court for that substantial amount of money. How on earth that you're revoking 68 passports and you're not making no mention of the agents involved? That doesn't make any sense.
Well, confirm say, well, Lobby wanted to ask you a question about that.
Yes. But Lobby, but I would also say, I don't think those were counterfeit passports. These were sold by agents.
Yeah.
These were agents who sold them. And the question then becomes, why is the government of Dominica issuing passports before they receive their $100,000? You would think that they would get the money first and then release the passports. So it seems that something is wrong. There appears to me to be a lot of fraud involved in that, corruption around the passport process, and that is something that needs to be investigated.
But
but maybe we should know what the people, how did they obtain these passports? Don't you think that's important as well?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Who are the agents? Somebody sold those passports to them. And they got the passports before the money was deposited into, because these are passports that they say that were undersold.
But gentlemen, isn't if a passport is sold to me, it's been revoked, what happened to my money? Is there going to be repercussions?
Well, you'll have to go and the person that
expect some lawsuits. Expect people will be sued for their money.
Only lawsuits?
Why, this whole place is a
what's the status of the court matter? What's the status of the court matter that you all are contemplating?
Yes, we have issued a letter to the government of Dominica. It is called I can't remember the legal term for it, but it's a letter where you inform the side that you're about to take legal action against them. We have hired an attorney, a senior counsel, Ramlogan of Trinidad, the former Attorney General of Trinidad and Tobago, Aman Ramlogan as our lawyer. Did I say Ramlogan?
Yeah, that's what you said.
Yeah, Ramlogan. As our lawyer, and he will be taking the matter forward. We have given the government a period of time in which they are supposed to respond, and then the action will be going forward. It has already been prepared. We're in the process now of the lawyer in question has to be called to the bar in Dominica. We're in the process of finalizing that arrangement. And as soon as this arrangement is done, the official filing of the court action will begin. And what this seeks to do is to get in particular, to get Hayden to account for the passports, and also the government of Dominica to tell the people of Dominica how many passports were sold, who they were sold to, and how much money came out of those passports, and where the money from those passports are. So these are the questions that we'll be asking the court to basically ask the government of Dominica. So it's a very important case, and we have precedent because that was done in Belize. So there's already precedents for that. Belize did a similar thing where they took the government to court, and the court forced the government of Belize to declare or to reveal this information. So already there is precedent set, and we're hopeful that our court action will be successful and it will result in the return of the billions of dollars into the coffers of Dominica.
Fantastic.
Well, that's very important news. We have another caller. Good evening.
Sibo, Roby, Dr. Fontaine, Ronald Random.
Good night, sir.
It's a pack of cards. And a pack of cards, it has 52 of them. And Sibo uses, I don't have to tell you, Dr. Fontaine, Randa, and Roby. It must have jokers in it. It has 2 jokers in a pack of cards. But unfortunately right now is 19 jokers. But we have 4 jokers fighting to be in the top. The first one is jobs from Airmail, from Roseau Central, then Blanchard.
No more usa pale Creole, no more. Usa pale Creole.
Is jobs. Then we had no what's her name again? Down Portsmouth. It's Bright and Creamy. I went my Fresh Market today. Bright and Creamy even fell out because Fresh Market get a free ad. And to add insult to injury, the Lazy Lion Lyra from Rosa South, BB and Pink Grapefruit is the national rum of Dominica. Sibo, it cannot get any worse. As I tell you, a pack of card have 2 jokers, but right now it's 4 jokers going to fight to be 19. The last one, the power for Rosa South, that BB, Mr. Speaker, BB and Pink Grapefruit is the national rum of Dominica. I never know that even BB is a national rum, more less of Pink Grapefruit. Gentlemen, have a blessed day.
Well, but seriously, guys, where the jobs that people talking about now? Seriously, I mean, for somebody to go and people going and talking about jobs, where are these jobs really?
I mean, it is pathetic, you know. And I mean, these people really believe that Dominicans will believe that their jobs been created because they say it many times: jobs.
Remembered what happened with Ambrose? He went to Antigua.
Okay, let's take this call. Hold on. Good evening. Good evening.
Yes, good evening, gentlemen.
Yes,
Very
sir.
good program thus far. But you know, gentlemen, I'm making a recommendation to the next administration that to take the reins of power in Dominica. Whenever a sitting member of parliament has to attend parliament, it's important that you do a severity test on them or a drug test, because I mean, for Melissa Pop on steroids, we know she don't have it in her. She's naturally dark. But
no, careful what you say. Okay, go on.
This lady from Rosa North, I personally believe she was under the influence of something. You can't be a normal person to come in the highest court of the law of the land and talk this dumb shit. I mean, come on, something has to be done, man.
But you know, Dr. Fogden, somebody said, every day I see economic growth.
growth.
No, somebody said, I mean, the guy just said about somebody dumb, I don't want to get involved. But how can somebody go in the house and say, every day, or the person says, jobs, and every day I see economic growth. All you can see economic growth every day. Anyway, guys, we have to take our first break. And I went, oh my God, all the lights are going. Let's take the last 2 calls and then we take a break. Because all the lights are going. Good evening. Hello?
Do you realize the movie we're making right now? Out of movie. Let me tell you, gone are the days when we used to pass in town and the house is going on and all about business places, every house. You could just hear it on the roof. Now, road so silent, you don't hear nothing. Thank you.
No. Good evening, caller. Good evening.
There are plenty of jobs in the sky falling like how the rain falling.
All right, thank you. Okay, we have one more, the last one, and we can take a break. Good evening. Hello?
People,
Yeah.
I can listen one more thing.
Mm-hmm.
As you talk about parliament, I notice the speaker right now, he doesn't interrupt nobody now talking about them imputing improper motive. When Lennox, Spags, and Danny Luke and members of the United Workers' Party was in the house, people they could hardly get a sentence out before the speaker interrupt.
Correct.
And right now, he just relaxed because he knows there was no challenge in parliament anymore. Since you don't believe we stop the opposition members in parliament, he just giving people the latitude to do what they want, say what they want to do. And the only person to object, if you notice, school, and that tell me a lot, see, but these guys afraid the truth. They're afraid of good debate, common sense, logic, a clear vision. They don't haven't got that. So every time, especially Lennox Clinton, I don't know how we used to do it in parliament. Every time he come up, speaker has to tell him that it's not parliamentary. That language is not parliamentary language, or they imputing improper motive. I just see how the house come now. No substance, no clarity, no vision, nothing. Just as the parent says, it's a back of card with a bunch of jokers. But they still cannot get me to laugh, Sibo. That's how weird it is. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, only lights are going, but we're going to take our first break now. Thank you. First break.
Sibo, can I say quickly that resolution that was passed by the OAS asking for a precinct by precinct record of the vote. Interestingly enough, 17 countries voted in favor. No country voted against, but there were 11 abstentions, and the vote did not pass. 11 abstentions. I suspect Dominica was one of those abstentions. We are going to find that out.
And before we take the break, do you remember too that a plane that was transporting a lot of former Latin American leaders were prevented from arriving in Venezuela by Maduro?
To observe, to
observe an election, they were prevented from arriving. We take our first break now.
The New India Insurance Company has reopened its doors in Portsmouth, offering the same great services you get in Roseau. Motor vehicle insurance, home and business owners, fire and related perils, public liability, and so much more. Come, visit us today for insurance with a personal touch on Bay Street, Portsmouth, or call us at 445-4023. We are ready to serve you.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, Portland and tile cement, steel rods, galvanized and fenced pipe, and Rudolph Thomas can meet all your wire needs. Galvanized roofing sheets, doors, windows, toilet sets, face basins, and bidets. PVC piping, fittings, and lattice. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. And Rudolph Thomas is your one-stop shop for hard-to-find items like fiberglass mat and fiberglass resin and welding rods. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
When you want the best, what you do? Shop at SCS. Better than the rest. Go shop at SCS. And they all compare. Shop at SCS. You get more for what they say. Shop at SCS. Shop at SCS. Yeah. Shop at SCS. Shop at SCS. What they say. Shop at SCS. SCS family, customer friendly. With 3 locations, it's so convenient. And our prices, they're nice. That's where you belong. Oh, tell your mama, tell your papa, shop at SCS. Tell your son and your daughter, shop at SCS. Auntie, nene, and cousin, friend, open power, all of them. Grandma, grandpa, couple, neighbor, girlfriend, boyfriend, side. What? Shop at SCS. Shop at SCS. Shop at SCS. Shop at SCS. Check us out at Pottersville, High Street, and downtown Roseau. The New India Insurance Company has reopened its doors in Portsmouth, offering the same great services you get in Roseau. Motor vehicle insurance, home and business owners, fire and related perils, public liability, and so much more. Come, visit us today for insurance with a personal touch on Bay Street, Portsmouth, or call us at 445-4023. We are ready to serve you.
Okay, guys, we are back and we're going to be dealing with the Olympics because I am sure most of you all and most people will know the real thing starts tomorrow. I mean, although the Olympics started last weekend, but the track and field starts tomorrow. In fact, I think for Dominican listeners, the triple jump qualification starts tomorrow about 11:15, right? Guys, qualifying tomorrow about 11:15. But I think there was swimming today, wasn't there, Lobby?
Oh yes, there are lots of swimming still, gymnastics.
But last week, Lobby, you made the point about the swimming. You were making the point, how did these people get to represent Dominica? Didn't you make that point?
Oh yes, as whether you have a vibrant association.
Well, so, okay, if we do not, I do not know if we are, but how did the people get nominated to take part then?
Because, listen to me, without the association, the Olympic Committee cannot take on their own. cannot take on their own, Sebastian. It's just highly important. I've never heard that in my life.
Well, that's what I would like to know. Let me ask you guys, because you familiar with the people who are in swimming. Where do they live? Where do these people live? I don't know them. I mean, personally, I don't know either of them.
People, I haven't got. Listen to me. We have to understand that I haven't got any problem with people. Like, for example, like Fear. Fear is in the US, and Fear started representing Dominica at the Caribbean Games. We have to understand that, and she have never turned her back on Dominica as a junior athlete. Okay. Now I haven't got any problem with if we had a swimming association, and you have swimmers competing overseas, and here they have qualified. I haven't got any for the Olympic Games. For example, you had the World Swimming Competition. I think either Hungary, it was, where were they? All right. And the
Well, the question will be, where are the swimmers based? I heard we have 2 swimmers.
Well, we have one. I think the Ega girl who was a former swimmer, former Miss Dominica. That's Ega's the daughter. I think she's the one that coaching in Canada. All right, but I haven't seen anything of this. I only saw this people, Sebastian, the Olympic Games. I saw in Dominica contingent have 4. I say 4. When I saw it, I said, I have a shock. I'm saying suddenly this thing must stop. People must not for their own whims and fancies, the Olympic Games coming up. I want to represent Dominica. All right, you have 4 years of preparation. If you are involved, which Dr. Fountain will know, you have Olympic Solidarity SIBO. And here, what they will do, they will work with the associations, those who are affiliated to the local, to the DOC here. And here, you will submit names. For example, for the next 4 years, they'll have a grant for the next 4 years, and there will be progression. You look at in terms of every year, you have to submit a report on these athletes. But these 2 athletes, I've never heard anything about them. And again, I'll ask, what is happening to their local association? Who did the DOC took on their own? Because first of all, I know that Lawrence Woody is Woody before he was involved in swimming. Then after he left, he went into archery. All right, so I don't know what's going on.
How did he become the swimming coach then? Explain. I think he's part of the group.
I think probably he went as chef de mission.
No, I think he's the swimming coach. I think that is.
Well, Sebastian.
Dr. Fountain, you can comment on that?
I will say that I believe it's his son. His son is there now.
Yeah, but I think he's gone as the coach. It's part of
the right. So it makes sense that he's coaching his son.
Yeah, but if his son is not based here, how is coaching him? If Woody is in Dominica, isn't Woody in Dominica, based in Dominica?
No, well, Sibo, what I think happened, what normally is this? I suspect he has a dual role, probably as a chef de mission and as a person, a former swimmer, because he represents Dominica in swimming already.
Okay.
Yes, as a former swimmer, and in terms as to save costs, in terms of sending the Ega girl, even sending where his son is, who is being coached. Normally, he has been there as chef de mission, the person in charge of the contingent. So he's there probably as a dual. He's there as a dual purpose. Okay. That's all. But at the same time, Sebastian, the question is, how were these people able to get to the represent Dominica?
Well, I'd like to ask you, the local association. You're the athletics man. I would like you to tell me.
No, well, see, but look, I'm asking the question, It's just craziness. I know the swimming association has been dormant. It has been dormant. Because first of all, if they were active, you have, besides the Caribbean Games, there's also track and field and also swimming. All right, which is separate from track and field. So you have swimming at the Caribbean Games every year. Every year, you have St. Lucia taking part, Antigua, Grenada, except Dominica. We used 2 years ago, but this has been dormant. All right? And first of all...
Very strange.
And Sibo, for you to get any privilege from the DOC, your association has to be vibrant. You have to pay your annual fees to the DOC. You have to submit your financial reports. So I can understand what is going on. It's madness.
Yeah, I would want to.
But otherwise,
Yes,
the
I
competition.
acknowledge that point. That's a very valid point. And how did they qualify for the games is another thing that has to be explored. And that's a matter that we need to talk about. But one of the matters I would want to raise is the success of Jefferson Lee Joseph, a gold medalist in rugby as part of the French team. He's the son of the great Jeff Joe of Gramax fame. And that's very remarkable. And I hope the DOC and the DAA recognizes his achievement and communicate with him accordingly. And even possibly bring him to Dominica so that we can meet him in Dominica and greet him because he's one of our own. Very, very critical. Also, LaFour is on tomorrow. Let's wish her well. I am not satisfied with the level of mobilization in Dominica to support Fear LaFour. I had a lot of discussion with the people in the Athletics Association, what could have been done, and I told them about a cost-effective way. We've got a big screen across the West Bridge where we could have used its own, I think, by the man of Vibes Radio. And it's a screen we could have used to promote Fear LaFour because Fear LaFour is a great prospect for Dominica. I would also want to understand how the Tourism Association in Dominica is using Fear LaFour to promote Dominica, wherever she has the opportunity to speak favorably about Dominica. This is a very important component of sports tourism. Finally, the press attaché. We seem to have the same press attaché for all sports. I don't understand that. I don't understand why other people are not given the opportunity.
I agree with you.
The press attaché for football, the press attaché for Olympics, the same press attaché for all activities. I don't understand that.
Also, just to add to what our friend Landa has said about Jeff's son, we also have in gymnastics, Fred Richard. His mother is a Laron. She's from Dominica. His father is Haitian. Okay, and he has one of the top male gymnasts in America and even in the world. He helped the U.S. secure bronze, right, in the team event. Well, last 16 years, last 2008, the U.S. medal in men gymnastics. And I think that Fred, very intelligent young man, he's 20 years, you know, and I've been following since my cousin Will. They live in Boston, and it's 2 years ago that my cousin introduced me to this young man, and I've been following him. And he does gymnastics, and the guy is very intelligent. He speaks, and he has his own brand. He has close to 100,000 people follow on his Instagram, and I think based on what he has done, I look especially in the high bars. This guy is just phenomenal in the high bars. And today I was also impressed with my girl Simone Biles. You know, it's just unbelievable, gentlemen, what black people, what we can do. Give us a chance and give us a chance in what we can do. I don't know if you Fountain, you heard about the Russian coach, you know, who wants the rules to change. What rules to change? What? There are things by you laugh.
Hold on, Lobby. A question maybe from a caller. Good evening, caller.
Hello, good evening to everybody.
Hello. How are you, lady? How are you?
I'm enjoying my.
Are you all right now? You're not feeling hot anymore?
No, I have no.
You have lights though, so your air conditioning.
I haven't got no water.
Oh my goodness!
Okay.
Amanda, you brought a little piece of cake there for me, no?
Ronald, Anthony, lady, they're laughing.
Remember, we work in the public service together, you know.
Yes.
You got something there for me.
Yes.
And you're always asking about my well-being. Thanks for that. So you have that there for me. Give to Sibo for me.
I'll give it to your son for you when I go to Inland Radio.
Okay. On another serious note.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sibo and everybody, boy, you all didn't see this girl on the beams, boy.
Which one?
Simone, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God. And as Amloback mentioned about a coach, I mean that coach is out of place. The coach saying Simon has nothing to offer. Yes, so that's when
No, I
the
didn't see
lady
that.
said she has nothing to offer. We they must change the rules. Anyway,
No, before you go, we're talking about Olympics. Nadal was knocked out by Djokovic, in tennis, right? You saw that, right?
Yeah.
And also Swiatek lost today.
Swiatek
Lost today.
Coco Gauff lost. Coco Gauff lost as well.
And also the singles, the doubles, Nadal and
Go ahead, caller. What you said?
I said Swiatek not my favorite.
Well, she always wins.
Today.
She always wins at the French Open, so she lost.
And she's number one in the world. Let's face it.
Yeah. So she got knocked out. Yeah, she got out. Yeah.
Anyway.
Thanks. Dr. Fountain, your team, South Sudan, they lost to the US last night.
They lost to the US as expected, but they're playing Serbia on Saturday. I expect them to beat Serbia and go on to the next round. I mean, they're playing their phenomenal team. Obviously, they don't have the bench that the US have. But you can see the talent is there, the skills are there, the skill set. They're excellent team. Excellent team.
Exceptionally, it was a warm-up game. They should have won that.
Yes.
They should have won the warm-up game, yes.
Yeah. They lost by only one point.
We have a caller, guys. Good evening, caller. But the caller is gone.
But Sibo, I wanted to talk about some of the controversies surrounding the Olympics. There's a lot
of right ahead. Go right ahead.
There's a lot of controversies. Of course, the Russian, that Russia is not even there because of doping. The Chinese swimmers are under a lot of scrutiny because two of the major swimmers, in fact, one of the swimmers, he broke the record in the 200 meter freestyle. He broke the record. And another woman swimmer she was bad in 2022 for doping. They claim afterwards that they got the dope from eating meat. They got this stuff in the system because they went to some restaurant and they were bad, and yet still they continue to perform. And there's a lot of scrutiny on them for doping, the Chinese. But the probably the most sensational part is you may have seen this boxer from Tunisia. She got 2 coughs today. She got 2 jabs, and she said she feared for her life because her opponent is genetically a man. Okay, and that is based now. There is and it is very interesting that I did a little bit of reading. This particular gentleman, he was barred by the International Boxing Association last year. For that very same reason, when they tested him, they realized he was more a man than a woman, based on his level of testosterone. Now you remember this very very popular
South African
athlete, South African,
400 meter,
Semenya, you're right. She lost her career because of that same problem. But I don't understand why in boxing. And the woman who bowed out after 46 seconds, she said when she received those 2 jabs, she thought she was going to die. She feared for her life. So she decided to bow out. That's creating a problem for the officials and for the Olympic Committee, because people are asking why it is that these individuals who are tested to be genetically men, why are they allowed to compete against women? Obviously, they will have an unfair advantage because testosterone builds up your muscles and so on, makes you more, it makes you into a man. And so that's a very important issue. That is something that we're going to hear a lot of. And I don't know. The poor woman, she was in tears, and yet she, I don't know if it's a he or she, is allowed to continue into the next round. So that's something that we have to look out for. It's causing a huge controversy now in the game. So these are the 2 major controversies that we have in the Olympics: the doping that surrounds some of the Chinese swimmers, and now this issue of the men posing as women.
Yes, let's take this. Hold on, Lobby. We have a caller. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes.
The lady that made the comment on Simon Biles is a former Russian gymnastics coach. So he has suffered. He said they will change the rule. But then going back to the swimming, I was listening on Sportsman. The Dominican guy, the Lawrence guy, in the hip, in all he hit, in the 50 meters freestyle, he came out 52. He didn't make it. But there's a Cayman Island guy that Cooks.
Yep.
He's in the finals of the
50 meters.
50 meters freestyle.
Yeah, freestyle.
Oh, wow, that's commendable.
Yeah. I remember 4 years ago, I asked Sport Rap a question, but they were undecided. They never come to a conclusion. But I'm going to ask the question one more time again. Which is the biggest sporting event in the world? The FIFA World Cup or the Olympics?
That's a nice question.
No, but that is, obviously the Olympics. The
Olympics is the biggest watch for sure, easily. Biggest watch.
I'll go the Olympics.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's a multiple of events.
Yes. And I like the swimming because to me, when I was swimming, you have the freestyle, the backstroke, the breaststroke, and the butterfly. And that was the 4 different strokes. To me, I watch it as the breaststroke is the hardest of the 4. I don't know what you all look at.
No, they have the butterfly.
The butterfly?
Yeah, it's the hardest stroke.
But the breaststroke, remember, is King Boy, the best. Anyway.
That's easy stroke, the breaststroke.
Thank you. I think we have another caller, guys. Good evening. Hello?
One other thing.
Well, your phone has a problem, lady.
But he tell me to try that.
Oh no. Same problem. I heard you, Leonard Clinton, having a problem. Well, you'll have to check the provider, Blue. Yeah. Guys, we note yesterday, Shericka Jackson, big blow for Jamaica. She had to withdraw from the 100 meters, as you know. But that was somebody they were expecting to be on the podium, Shericka Jackson. So she's only going to be running in the 200 meters now. And that's a big blow for Jamaica. And it doesn't. Yeah, hold on.
If she can run the 100, how she can run the 200? I can understand.
Well, she has withdrawn from the 100 meters. She's only going to be running the 200 meters.
Because the shorter event, if she's injured, I can't see her, running.
But her specialty is the 200, Emmanuel.
Well, exactly.
Yeah, I understand. Look, if you're injured for the 100, if you have hamstring, how are you going to do? I can't understand at all.
Well,
she's injured. Okay.
She had an injury early on in the Diamond League. So there was a press conference yesterday. Her coach, Stephen Francis, they didn't give any indication about she was injured. They just said she won't be running. She has withdrawn from the 100. They're putting another girl to run in the 100 meters from Jamaica.
I think that's strategic. Strategic.
Yeah. We have a caller. Good evening. Let's take this caller. Good evening.
And there's another sort of controversy, as I was saying. A lot of the major sponsors are pulling out. You know that?
No. Well, tell us why.
Yeah, a lot of the major sponsors are pulling out their sponsorship from the Olympic. I understood. I looking at it, and that controversy during the opening, if they're painting of Da Vinci and who did the peak and who didn't the peak. There's a lot of controversy in that.
Yeah, but which of the sponsors have pulled out?
Excuse me?
Which of the sponsors have pulled out? Which ones? I've not heard
that. The one that pulled out was how you call them?
What product are they involved in?
Because I didn't hear that one. Yeah, what product? Ron, I'll ask you. What product? If it's Coca-Cola or KFC or whatever. Because I didn't know.
Is that
a beverage? Some beverage?
A TV company. How are you calling them again? You can come to me.
Is it American TV?
Anyway, let's move on. When you find out, you can call us. Please.
Okay.
Please. Guys, I don't know if yesterday at the training facility, if you watched that, they were training yesterday and Noel Lyles, his girlfriend, is a Jamaican. So at the training, Kishan Thompson came and he hugged his girlfriend and we grew. So they were saying that they're playing mind games, and Tristan, Stephen Francis, the coach, one of the coaches of the Jamaican, he said that, how can you be playing mind games with somebody who's faster than you? And it was interesting that today. Because most people expect Kishan Thompson to win the 100 meters. I mean, and in fact, the Jamaicans feel they might go 1-2 in the 100 meters. Oblique Civil and Kishan Thompson. So it's going to be very interesting how that 100 meters.
Well, Sibo, first of all, I have to wait for for round 1, round 2, and round 3. Seriously,
What?
and because they are good, you know. Seriously,
What we can
round
do,
1.
Bobby, Dr. Fountain,
Yeah.
is a weekend, holiday weekend. So let us give people some important races they can take the time. Like, for instance, the triple jump final, Saturday at 1:20. That's the final, the time. 1:20 p.m., triple jump final. Saturday,
is that local Dominica time?
Local Dominica time.
Okay.
Can you see Dominica?
Well, Sportsmark supposed to be carrying Sportsmark.
Because I understood Dominica not seeing the Olympics.
No, Dominica, of course, the Sportsmark is carrying, but the real thing, as I said, the track and field starts tomorrow.
Oh,
so,
do you have to pay?
Yeah, of course, you have to retain Sportsmark.
You have to retain Sportsmark.
If you're on flow, you've got to pay for Sportsmark.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Okay, then Saturday, 2:20 p.m., the women's 100 meters. Let people hear it clearly. Saturday, no, the final. I'm only giving the final. Saturday at 2:20 p.m., the women's 100 meters final. Right? So that's one. Sunday at 2:50 p.m., the men's 100-meter final. Note that Sunday, that's probably the biggest race in the Olympic, most of the men's 100-meter final, Sunday at 2:50. Monday at 2:45, the women's 800 meters final. Monday, 2:45, the women's 800 meters final. Tuesday at 2:50, the women's 200 meters final. Tuesday, 2:50 p.m., the women's 200 meters final. Wednesday at 2:20, the men's 400 meter final. That's a big race, eh? Big race. Wednesday at 2:20 p.m., the men's 400 meters. And I'll give you up to Thursday at 1:30 p.m., the men's 200 meter final. So when we get back next Thursday, we'll give the big races for next weekend, like the relays and everything. So these are the times for the finals between tomorrow and next week, Thursday. People should be glued. It's a holiday weekend, so you know the 100 meters, the 2, these are big races, so people can watch them. Yeah. Yellow, you're making a point again.
Yes, Dr. Fountain, as you mentioned about the two Chinese gentlemen, the two Chinese swimmers. Some years ago, if you go back, remember the Chinese were breaking records in swimming. And when they were tested, they said they tested them. They said they were taking some caterpillar together, some caterpillar, you know, and they had to take all the records that they broke were taken from them, and they were banned for a number of years. So I wasn't surprised at all, you know, because because look, I am not happy that you have Russia state sponsored, but it's not Russia alone. It's just not Russia alone. I mean, the Russian, they are very bold, state sponsored. They're being sponsored. This nonsense should stop. Let us compete on a even playing field. You know,
guys, why don't we? Boxing is an Olympic sport, right? Last weekend there was the OECS boxing in St. Lucia. Dominica was invited; they didn't take part. Each country were offered 4 tickets. They didn't have to pay for; they were offered 4. Trinidad was in St. Lucia. Guyana was there. Barbados was there. Grenada was there. St. Lucia took part, and Dominica did not take part. The OEC and 4 tickets. Maybe the president of the boxing, Job, could call and tell us why Dominica didn't accept the invitation. They were offered 4 tickets. They didn't have to pay for tickets. They would be provided with meals in St. Lucia, and then Dominica didn't send a team at all to the OECS boxing championships. Let's take this caller. Good evening.
Yes, it's me again. 2 things quickly. First of all, with the movement of the LGBT community in terms of going from strength to strength at this time, I wouldn't be surprised if in 4 years' time you have transvestite Olympics. You know, you never know. You know, so look out for that, because if the argument can be made that it's unfair for someone who's in a transvestite community to be boxing in the Olympics against a female. Maybe they will move to have their own Olympics soon. But on another note, in relation to the swimmers who are representing Dominica, my view on that is that if the persons are competing in international competitions, yes, we may not have heard of them, but if they are in fact competing in international competitions and they are able to meet the standards for qualification, and most importantly, they are of Dominican heritage, whether born in Dominica or they have Dominican citizenship as a result of being the children of Dominican individuals who were born in Dominica or Dominican citizens. I think we should embrace them and utilize the opportunity to promote Dominica, because if you'll remember some years ago, we had a couple, a Caucasian couple, who were representing Dominica, and nobody knew where these people had come from. It appeared that they just had enough money to pay for them to get on the team. So that I totally disagree with. But if it's a person who comes from a Dominican background and happens to live overseas, or has one parent who is from a country, a first world country where they can get good training and all of that, and then they come in because of the competition in that country, they can't necessarily represent that country, but they can represent our country. I think we should embrace them. That's my view.
Caller, just quickly, I think the concern that Mr. LeBlanc raised is not about the nationality or embracing. I think his concern was that for the Olympics, the athletes come through the sporting body. So the swimmer should come through a swimming association and not the Olympic Committee. Right. So his question was, is the swimming association active in Dominica? That was what he was raising. It has nothing to do with
and he has a very valid point there. And I mean, I think that speaks to the fact that the government of Dominica has their priorities in the wrong place. They obviously are not concentrating on sports and not assisting the young people with the opportunities that sports can give them in a way that is adequate. So yes, I think he has a very valid point, but I just thought I would kind of make the point based on the person's links to Dominica. I honestly think that we have to be very careful about persons who are CBI citizens starting to represent Dominica and all of that. I think there's a much wider, much broader discussion to have. But I do agree with Lovi. I understand his point. But I just think that if they're from Dominican backgrounds, we need to try somehow to assist and embrace their participation.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Guys, we allow people listening. Let me we just get information. Only one sponsor has pulled out. It is a US tech company called Cispire.
Cispire, right. I did a quick look, and they pulled out over the opening ceremony.
Yes. Thank you.
It was over the opening ceremony, Sibo. Remember, there was a scene that the claim made a mockery of the Last Supper, the painting of the Last Supper. And Christians and Catholics were outraged because it had a guy who was painted blue, but he was otherwise naked, and a woman who was dressed similarly like how Christ is in the center of that photo. And they thought that particular depiction, which was meant to promote French culture, they claimed it made a mockery of the Last Supper. Very, very important painting by Leonardo and such, Da Vinci. And so they thought that was what it was, and they pulled out as a result. But no other company has followed suit.
On the question of the Swimming Association, if the DOC identifies that we've got some good talent internationally, as a management team, they should ensure that we put an association in place in Dominica to facilitate the process.
Okay.
But Sibo, quickly.
But also run not only that.
Guys, we have our guests. We've got our guests joining us now.
We've got our guests, so we want to move forward. But before we do that, Sibo, quickly, I just want to commend the Dubla Football Club. The Dubla Football Club is participating in the 2024 CFU Club Shield, and they're into the semifinals. Very, very good fit by the
Very
Dubla
good.
Football
Good
Club.
news.
Okay, guys, right. So tomorrow, guys, Fielafo, the qualification starts, and the final 1:20 p.m. on Saturday. All Dominicans, be glued to your television to support a Dominican lady. Okay, guys, so we have to switch sports now, and we have to go to cricket. We just saw the culmination of the disastrous series between West Indies and England. And then we're going to review it. So we're supposed to be joined by noted Caribbean commentators, Mr. Andrew Mason and Joseph Reddy, evergreen Joseph Reds Pereira. I think we have both of them on now.
No, only Reds.
No, I think Andrew is there as well. Andrew, good night. Are you there?
No, only Reds.
I think he's trying to make his way on.
Yeah. Reds, are you there? Good night.
I am very much here, but you will excuse the slight delay. We had difficulty getting you on StreamYard. I had really powered up the iPad. Didn't power up the phone as much, but I'm happy to be here. I lasted as long as I could. I have 28% on it, so if you'd like to take me first and Andrew after, I'll be grateful.
Well, yeah, well, we want to take both of you all because it's important. You all have, well, you are Reds are commented for what, over 50 years? You have commented on cricket in the Caribbean? Andrew Mason
Don't make me feel so old, look at you, my friend.
No. Okay, all right, I accept that. Andrew, are you there? Are you first, Andrew Mason?
Not yet.
Not yet, but Reds is there ready. So we will. Reds, first question. Where did it go wrong for the West Indies in England? First question.
Preparation was poor.
True.
We arrived much too late. And, you know, my own self and a number of other commentators were calling for what are the plans going to England. It was a young side with only, 3 people who have had experience in England. You know, like Roland Butcher, I sought his advice. He said the board should have gone to do a camp in Ireland and get 2 matches against the Irish team, which would have been much better preparation. You know, we just wasn't ready for Lords. Lords was painful for the West Indies to watch the English operate in bowling conditions. Lockhart knows that Lords got problems with the slant, and bowlers get a lot of movement depending which end they're bowling, nursery end or pavilion end. And although we might have improved in the second and third in consistency, both bat and ball, I mean, the 2 Dominicans stood out. I liked the look of Louis. Shamar Joseph was not really fit, and I felt that he should have been released from the World Cup squad 2 matches before they played the final game to concentrate on getting physically ready to join Azari Joseph to England, and therefore he would have arrived in much a better shape. That's my opening comment.
Yeah, but you know, Red, as you talk about Joseph get himself in better shape to join Alzari Joseph. Alzari Joseph, to me, has been a disappointment. Reds, in fact, in England, I'll give you Alzari Joseph. The first match, he conceded 106 runs, then 98 runs, then 103 runs, 122 runs, and 25 runs. He took 10 wickets for 459 runs.
No, I wasn't talking about Azari Joseph as the leader and bowling the top of his game. I was just talking about getting there with Ari Joseph on time to really get fit. I was just saying.
Well, Azari Joseph was in the World Cup, so he didn't go to England earlier than Joseph. He was in the World Cup as well.
Yeah, but he caught the next available play. Joseph did not. Joseph went home to Guyana. Was he given permission to go home? all those questions, you really need to answer.
Yes, after that wonderful performance by Shamma Joseph in Australia, couldn't we be more tactical and get Shamma Joseph to England much earlier, even to play club cricket and possibly county cricket in preparation for the Test series? Because
that wasn't possible. He was in the World Cup. He could have been pulled in, but I think it was evident that he would not have played the last two matches after hadn't played against either Papua New Guinea or Uganda. He should have been let off from the World Cup side and said, put some miles under your belt like Roberts, Holding, Crawford, and Garner used to do, and he would have been much fitter. Wouldn't have been cramping up so much. He never looked a shadow, anything near the Australian performance. And look at this. His top pace was, I don't know, 134, 138 or something like that.
But to me,
yeah. Sorry, Rez, talking about this and in terms of the West Indies and their performance, I know it's a young team. I know they struggled, but I wanted your take on the way the team was captained during those games. And I'm thinking in particular in England's innings, they were 50, I believe, for 5.
Last Test match.
Joseph and Seals, Seals and Shamma Joseph were bowling. Shamma had just bowled 3 overs for 10 runs and 2 runs, averaging 2 runs and over. And he was removed from the attack, inexplicably removed from the attack. Joseph was brought on, Alzarri Joseph was brought on, and he conceded 16 runs.
Well,
there was that.
You don't have to make the case any further. You made the case already. Right? Don't send the man to the gallons in your description.
No.
Yes, bad captaincy. I mean, Moti was on the bowl. Moti picked up Root and the captain on the bowl.
Next over.
Yep, on the ball. But you talk about looking elsewhere. Gentlemen, my Dominican brothers, who do you think about? We don't have anyone you can say you can turn to. Nobody has got the captain experience. I mean, you have Holder, but they aren't going to go back to Holder. I don't think Holder will take it in the circumstances the way how he was treated the last time when he lost the captaincy.
Why look at Mackenzie? Look at what happened to our number 3 batsman. What do you think of him?
Not enough first-class cricket, which of course can be applied to many of our players. Our first-class cricket, the shortest first-class season in the world. The first-class season is not sponsored. I remember one year we got England A to come and play in our first-class season. It lifted the standard. We had many more games, and the board has got to be thinking along those lines. I don't know if you all have heard the first test, Steve. It was supposed to be announced last night. It hasn't been announced yet.
Well, Reds, hold on. We have just been joined by Andrew Mason, and maybe he has the information for us. Andrew, good evening.
Well, I don't have the information for you in terms of the team, but first of all, good evening to you and your illustrious panel.
And it's always nice to hear you, Andrew. Dominicans always like, and from all over the world. We have listeners all over the place, by the way. Go on.
Yeah. Well, in fact, on Mason and Guest on Tuesday night, Dr. Shallow said that the team was going to be announced on Wednesday, so he seems to be a day or two late. We were certainly looking forward to that. He was on the show and he made that statement, and they haven't seen that team announced at all. So I'm a little bit disappointed because I would imagine that the president of the West Indies comes on a show and says that something's going to happen as important as that. You would have expected that announcement. But as you know, there are some challenges in that marketing department. Bart had left. In fact, they don't have a staff, and that is certainly one of the challenges that we have as far as Cricket West Indies is concerned, to the point where they had to get Dean Wilson out of England to be the man doing their PR work in England. But we hope that that team will be announced pretty soon.
Andrew, hold on. I think there's a caller. Maybe you want to ask your question. Good evening, caller. For the caller left. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, and I was listening earlier to what Reds is saying. He's correct. The whole question of preparation. I mean, lack of preparation. It seemed to be such a rush job. There was a lot of emphasis, of course, on the World Cup. And if you're not going to play Shamar Joseph, why not get him into some red ball cricket? Because it was pretty clear that he was massively short of work. I believe that those cricketers going up to England should have had some cricket under their belt. And it was almost like, just taking a couple of youngsters, the under 19 boys to play against the West Indies. So the preparation was not good at all, hence the performance of the West Indies side. But in addition to that, when you look at the construct of the West Indies team, you had Louis going on his first tour. Mackenzie, looks as if he's really out of sorts. Athanaze had one or two innings. I thought Hodge was the player. Good to see a batsman in West Indies cricket, hooking and pulling. We haven't seen that in a long time. And, Holder was just thereabouts. And the reality is that we really struggle. We talked about Alzari Joseph. He doesn't seem to know his length, his line, and conceded many, many runs. And I believe that he should be rested at least for the first test match. I'll say this on your show. I don't think he should be selected for the first test in South Africa.
Okay, we have a caller, Andrew Babyface. Good evening, caller.
Sibo.
Yes.
Good evening. I want to ask Mr. Mason.
Go ahead, ask him, Andrew Mason. Yeah.
Mr. Mason, good evening.
Good evening, how are you?
On Brathwaite remaining captain.
Did you hear the question, Andrew?
No, but
I asked you, what are your views on Brathwaite remaining as captain of the West Indies team?
Well, for all of his career, I've been a big critic of Craig Brathwaite as a captain. And the reality is that when you look at it, who else can you turn to? We've got a crisis. We've got a crisis of leadership in the Caribbean, not only in terms of cricket, but perhaps politically. Look what's happening in Barbados in terms of the PLP, and look at what's happening across the Caribbean in politics. So we've got a crisis of leadership. Now, if you drop Brathwaite as captain, my question to the panel: who do you pick as captain? So we're in trouble. We are in big trouble. But it's
serious trouble.
I've got a name.
What name is that?
I've got a name, and what I want to put to Reds and Andrew: how can we assist our players in getting mentally prepared to play cricket? Because guys are making the same errors.
Sir, before you go there, you said you got a name. Tell me the name.
Yeah, let me call the name for you. Royston Chase, the most mentally organized cricketer on the West Indies team.
But he's not even in the side.
Why? Royston Chase supposed to bat number 6 on the West Indies team quite easily.
Yeah,
he can bat, he can bowl, and he can field very well. What's the problem?
So based on that, Royston Chase would be your captain?
Yes. Because why I would select him is the most mentally organized West Indian cricketer at this point in time. That's my opinion.
Well, if the people, I can't say selectors, if those who have picked the team and it looks like it's the coach and maybe the director of cricket, if they were half thinking of Chase, he probably would have been in the Brian Lara stadium playing. There's indication that they're not thinking of Chase. I think on the Mason show, I think the president said they were talking to Hope. It's kind of uncertain which direction they're going. I mean, are they going to have a surprise choice? I mean, Shamar Springer, 131, 151 minutes, 212 balls. He certainly put his hands up. And if you're thinking of a young all-rounder, although he didn't get a chance to bowl a ball in the South African first innings, that is someone. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do with Salazano. He showed his hand, 111. It's going to be fairly interesting to see what kind of squad we are going to get for the first test.
Hold that thought. We have a caller. On the line. We caller is gone. Hold on. Good evening. Good evening.
Yes, good evening, Thibault, to you and the rest of your panel.
Yes, good evening.
And good evening to Mr. Mason and Mr. Pereira. I have a suggestion. Kehoe replace the wicketkeeper and captain the team. Ruston Chase replace Holder, and Brendan King replace the opener Craig Brathwaite. This is my suggestion for South Africa.
Gentlemen, you heard the suggestion, your comment? Okay, hold that thought. We haven't a caller, so please hold that thought. Good evening, caller.
Good evening again.
Yeah.
Good evening to Red and Andrew. Going back to the team in England, I saw deficiency in the batting. Back in the day, we had batsmen that could leave the ball outside the outside. And I don't know our modern batsmen, if they don't know the line, they cannot pick up the line of the ball, because when I look at Larry Coombs and Desmond, his batsmen, because no, they were creative leaving the ball outside the outside. But this couple of batsmen, to me, they don't know which ball to leave and which ball to play at, and that was their weakness. They don't know outside the outside, and they were bamboozled. When you go there, I remember my dad telling me that bowlers were afraid to bowl offside the offside to Everton Wicks. You could not have Everton Wicks outside the outside. I think modern cricketers today, they are very weak. They don't know which ball to, and that I think was the major downfall with our batsmen in England.
Okay, thank you, caller. Thank you. Andrew and Red, you heard the first caller. I guess your suggestion, you can respond.
Well, if I may go first, the call is talking about Craig Brathwaite. I'm not quite sure what he means by leaving out Craig Brathwaite. I mean, Craig may not be the choice as captain, but certainly as a batsman, you still have to play him, although in recent times, he's been on decline. In fact, in the last 22 innings, he's got just 1.5 century. But given what we have in West Indies cricket, certainly we still have to play him. You see, the thing about Shai Hope, the question that I asked the president the other night, what's the latest Shai Hope relation to red ball cricket? And he says that the head coach is talking to him. Now, I'm hearing in Barbados that Hope is not all that keen on playing red ball cricket. But then I'm also hearing that he is and wasn't selected. So we need to know, and there has to be a very clear position on Shai Hope. Is he available for selection in the red ball game? And if he is, I think he's good enough to get into the side. But I'm also, as I said earlier, I'm hearing that he's not very keen on playing red ball cricket. And if that's the case, it's most unfortunate, because we need his experience playing for the West Indies. Because when you look at the West Indies side, it is a pretty inexperienced batting lineup.
I think that Hope will look a lot better than Mackenzie at number 3. The question of dropping the Silva, he had maybe an improved batting performance against England. And keeping was maybe just about average. He did miss a stumping chance, but I don't see them leaving out the Silva at this time. You're not sure what they are thinking of really and truly. And, I heard a comment today from the ground at Brian Lara that maybe the West Indies team has not arrived yet in Trinidad. Can Andrew comment on that?
I heard that as well. But then of course, the West Indies team seems to arrive, very late, generally. In fact,
Andrew, who selects the West Indies team? Tell listeners now. You don't have selectors. So who selects the team?
Well, again on Tuesday night, the president was out. I asked him that. and he said that the West Indies team is selected by the head coach. So that's Andrea Coley. But he's also saying that there's scouts around the Caribbean. I'm hearing that my good friend Tony Gray is a scout. I'm hearing that Roger Harper is a scout. But there's been no official announcement from Cricket West Indies. So, whereas when you were a selector, Roland Butcher was a selector, they're going in a different direction. But they have to be very clear. And I think by now, there should have been a press conference with the director of cricket, Mr. Bascom, to come out to tell the people of the Caribbean exactly what is the new selection policy. We have not had that. I think it's about time that we know.
I have a question. Let's take this caller. Good evening, caller.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
I want to look at this whole thing from a different angle of questions to the panel. That with respect to Azari Joseph, he did not bowl good and for some time. I find he's on decline for some time now. However, having said that, I just want to find out from the panel his whole demeanor on the field. Azari just looked vexed. He just looks vexed.
Yes,
yes. Getting forced and he just looks vexed. How does that impact on the field? I really don't like to see him on the field. He just looks like a very angry young man playing cricket. First of all, he doesn't take the sport as something that he can, that exude energy and whatever, and he's always angry. I think that can be a negative thing on his side. Also, you are as a batsman, if you come up to bat in the wicket, you always get any bowling when you have Craig Brathwaite batting. Craig Brathwaite looks very strange in the wicket, like he's not sure for anything, and he's the experienced man. He's the experienced batter on the team, and plays and this like he never had played in England before his entire life. For a guy who hasn't played for so long, he should exude some confidence in other batters like young and instead of that, Craig Brathwaite, and I have a issue with that. So I just want to look at those two factors. And finally, Hope is supposed to be the best batsman, technically sound, and I look at him already in the Caribbean, and I do understand how we cannot make our test.
Thank you, caller. Your comments, guys. We lost Red. Well, Andrew, Red, are you there? Yeah, go on. You heard the caller, guys.
We lost Reds.
Andrew, you heard the caller?
Yeah, okay. Well, let's start first of all with Alzarri Joseph. I was rather surprised, and I think you were, when he was made vice captain. Weren't you surprised by that?
Very surprised. In fact, I don't think they knew what they were doing. They didn't even realize that Hope was the 50-over captain when they made Alzarri vice captain. Yeah, go on.
It didn't make sense to me at all. And he always looks angry. The thing about Alzarri, it would appear as if he just picks up the ball and he bowls. I mean, when you look at some of the great fast bowlers of the past, McGrath, Malcolm Marshall, these guys would hone in on the top of the off stump and keep things very, very quiet. They had a plan. We're all over the place. And a lot of runs were scored against us. So you don't have a situation in Test cricket now where, you have, sometimes 6-7 runs in an over. And you had the stats. I mean, that's not good at all. In relation to Hope, we need to know exactly what is the situation. And I tried to pull out of the president of Cricket West Indies on the show, what is the position with Hope? And all he could say is that the head coach is talking to him. That, in my view, was not enough. I think the people of the Caribbean need to know what's happening with Shai Hope. And I think we'll all agree that if he's available, then he should certainly be in the West Indies team. But then you got a game on at the Brian Lara Stadium, and there's no indication, because one would think that if they were going to look at playing him, he would have been decided along with Roston Chase. So everything is up in the air. The construct of that team is going to be interesting. I don't think McKenzie will play. Solajan is certainly his hand up. But then when you look at his overall stats, Sibo, he's averaging 23.
Exactly. Exactly. But Andrew, I want to ask you a question. You said you interviewed the president of the board. And what I would like to say to you, I mean, you're a straightforward guy. You've been in that for years. You have your program, popular program. When you interview people like that, I would like you to see you probably certain things to them. Take, for instance, in India, the strongest probably nation in cricket maybe now, they have like 5 selectors. In Australia, they've never gotten rid of the selectors. We've been changing things. And you are our guest, so I don't want to throw you under the bus, Andrew. But in 2019, this new group took over the Cricket West Indies. You were in the forefront for them. That's a fact. In fact, Andrew Mason, there's an article that came out in the Barbados Today yesterday. The Barbados Today came out in the article where they're calling for the resignation of Shallow Grave. And when I say Shallow Grave, we're talking about the president, Kishore Shallow, and the CEO, Johnny Grave. In that article, they said a number of things where the board have not really come to the party, as they say. I would like to ask you, Andrew Mason, as somebody who stood up for this guy, would they use your program on a Tuesday night to campaign, Andrew Mason? How do you agree with what the Barbados Today newspaper said yesterday?
Well, on the evidence of what we've had in our cricket, in white ball cricket, certainly we've done pretty well in recent times, although we were disappointed in the World Cup. But certainly in terms of Test cricket, if all roads lead to the leader, then I think it's a pretty reasonable call. Johnny Grave has been in the job now for the last 7 years. I'm hearing that he may very well be going pretty soon. You know, we've had, someone like a Dominique Warren, who was the manager of the commercial manager, going, and I'm hearing that there is going to be a shakeup. So the article is straightforward. I think there's a lot of merit in it, and it's going to be interesting to see how the president responds to it. On the show on Tuesday, he made a very interesting comment. You know, he said that the players should take some of the blame for what happened in England. And I found that comment to be very interesting. And I pressed him on it. And then he said, well, look, not only the players, but the board, et cetera, et cetera. But clearly, given what has happened in West Indies cricket, I think he must seriously consider his options. And one will certainly be to give it up. So that article in the Barbados said that I know who wrote it. And I'm sure that the president would have seen it. I think that there's some merit in the article. Do you agree?
Well, a lot of merit. I mean, a lot of the things that was said in the article, really, because Andrew, when you look at it, there's too much nepotism, and you would know that, Andrew, in what has happened in the last few years in West Indies cricket. Too much of that. Too much nepotism. And I'm sure you'll agree with that one.
Yeah. No, I agree. I certainly agree. I mean, a perfect example would be Cornwall. Remember, you were part of the selection panel. I think.
Well, we got fired. That's one of the reasons why we got fired. Go ahead.
No, and compensated too.
Lockhart. You never
Come
told
on,
us
Lockhart.
that.
Come on, Lockhart. Give the full story, Lucky.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, make your point. Go ahead. Yeah. Nobody talk about Cornwall. Go ahead, make your point about that.
No. And you know, there was some talk that Cornwall had to get into the West Indies side. And I know that when you were chairman, you felt that, you know, you had to get fit, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, I wasn't the chairman, but we were put under a lot of pressure. And I can tell you as a selector, directors were calling, I would get text messages on my phone, and we wouldn't relent because really Cornwall shouldn't have been on the field playing Test cricket. Let's be real. And board members were interfering, putting pressure on people. And then as soon as we were taken out, he gets on the West Indies.
Yeah, that's very, very true. You're right about that.
He really wasn't fit. And in fact, on a number of times, whenever the fitness test came around, he found an excuse not to take part.
Yeah.
Hello, Lockhart.
Yes, Sebastian.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Mr. Mason. No,
my friend.
Yes, I'm one who is totally disappointed in the state of West Indies cricket. As a coach myself, a trainer, I look at our team going to England. I feel for Viv. So Lloyd, to sit and look at this as this humiliation of our test team. I feel I feel hurt. It all stems with lack of preparation. In sports today, people have to be prepared physically. You have to be. Cricket is 5 days. Cricket, which is 5 days. It's not an indoor stadium. It's outdoor. You have to be prepared. And I say it's like a recurring decimal. Look, we're coming from England, from a horrible series. We are going next week, where you have South Africa at home. They are preparing. They are preparing, to face us, to humiliate us again. And it's, we accept it's not coming on Alzari. First of all, I find Alzari right now, he should be batting number 11. He's very irresponsible with his batting and his bowling. Who is the West Indies bowling coach right now? I think Alzari needs to get back onto the playing some serious coaching. He has potential, but I don't know if is someone who is coachable.
Hello, Dominica.
Reds, are you back with us? You're back with us?
I've been trying to say hello for the last 15 minutes.
Okay, sorry about that. We had lost you for a while. Sorry about that. Sorry. You're back.
You lost the whole human being?
Okay, when you back on, don't let Low Black finish his point. Let him finish his point. Go on,
yes.
man.
Mr. Mason, I have my other problem is this. Over the years, I haven't seen us utilize the services of our past greats. And look, first thing like we are fast bowlers, batsmen. I was of the opinion that Haynes, instead of being a selector, should be in charge of the batting. I'm looking at India today, what they have done with their greats. They are utilizing their services. We have not been able to utilize the services of our great cricketers, whether it's batting or bowling.
Andrew, you want to comment? Andrew, you want to comment?
No. Reds has been off for 15 minutes, so I think we should give way to Reds.
Okay, Reds, yeah. Your comment, Reds.
Well, what Mr. LeBlanc just said is as old as the hills. It's not a new statement. It's a good statement, but they have just not allowed the former greats to play a role. I mean, look what England has done with Anderson.
Right.
Straight away, he's got a job. But I want to go back to Azari Joseph. Azari Joseph would not be in my first test team.
Andrew made that point. Andrew made that point as well. Yeah.
You can't come out of a series where you took 10 wickets at 45. But will they have the guts to leave out Azari Joseph? Again, we have vice captains being appointed. We had Blackwood, which was, out of the blue. Can hardly hold his place. The appointment of Azari is part of the ensuring that Dr. Shallow, let's be respectful, president of the board, has got the votes. He has got the leeward because of that. He's got Trinidad and Tobago. He's got the windwards. He's got Jamaica. Gentlemen, how are you going to move the present president, despite what you read in the Barbados Today, which I read every morning? So let's face facts. The board is going nowhere. I mean, the board has just done something which operated since 1928. Selectors were picking teams when we went to England in 28. Selectors have picked great teams, great. Ramanval, 1950. Shall I say more?
Yeah, go on.
Marshall and Holding. No, I don't have to say anymore.
Right, true.
You have changed something which has always worked in the majority of cases. And you have gone to a sole selector, which on the Mason show, as was said, it will be the coach, and you have not put out a press release to the Caribbean press, which is in fact disrespectful, right? The Shallow administration promised transparency, promised accountability. This is not very evident there. On the Mason show, we will put out the team by the 31st. It's not out. Where's the West Indies team? We do not know. When the team will be picked.
It's been baked. It's been baked.
They're talking to Hope. Yeah.
Reds and Andrew, They brought McCaskey and Tevin Imlach to England, two batsmen. They played the 3-day game at the start of it all. They didn't play any cricket again. Wouldn't it have been good to have both of these guys playing in the matches currently going on? The match that is currently going on in Trinidad. Shouldn't they have not been selected for that game?
Well, it depends. I don't know if Andrew knows when they would have arrived back, but would they have arrived back in time for them to get off the plane and head to Trinidad? I'm not sure.
But the point I'm making, they were not playing. So the board could have at least get them out of England by Sunday. You have direct flights from Heathrow to Trinidad. Get them out to Trinidad and to play the game because they hadn't played. They were in England like passengers.
I will have that's a possibility, but you have to have, a forward-thinking board. You have to. I mean, you take Isaiah Thorne. When they sent Seals to New Zealand, Seals spent the entire period of the series as a development player. You take Thorne to England, you would have thought that he would have been there for the entire 3 tests and he would have come back. He would have been much, probably more prepared than playing against South Africa. He was there until the 3-day game was finished. That must be short-sighted, a waste of money, a waste of opportunity. I don't know what Andrew Mason thinks.
I certainly agree with you. I mean, one could not understand what they were doing as far as Thorne is concerned. I mean, he went up and he certainly played in the game, and and he just went back home. And look at what happened when Louis got injured. Pinching dollars, Akeem Jordan, who really and truly could not make a Barbados team when my very good friend Sebo played for the Combined Islands. I mean, this guy is just thereabouts. So they brought him into the side, and that was shocking to me. But I also want to make the point that given the fact that we are playing so poorly, we need to widen our options. And I want to suggest on your show tonight, Sebo, that when we are traveling, we must carry at least 17 players.
I agree with you.
No, we need to do that. This whole business of 15 players does not make sense. And look, if you look at the options that we had, the 15 players. Who are the other players on the bench? McCaskey was on the bench. Imlach was very much on the bench as well. Louis was on the bench. I'm missing someone else, and Sinclair. So where are the batsmen in there to replace a struggling Mackenzie? So I'm saying to you that our cricket is so weak now that we can no longer be touring with 15. We have to widen our options. When other teams leave, they leave with 16, 17 players. And I'm very, very surprised that we went to England with only 15. And we took, as Rez was saying just now, we took young Thorne, who is the one for the future, and no one could understand what happened. In fact, he ended up in St. Vincent playing for Ghana in the under-19 tournament.
Gentlemen, let me ask both of you all, how do you see a turnaround in West Indies cricket? I want to ask both of you all, how do you see things turning around?
Well, I don't see that around the corner. Because if you can change selectors, go to a system which is totally untried, untested, unknown, no other ICC country, if I can make the point, has got this system. So, has the West Indies board been convinced by Miles Bascom that this is something that is going to work irregardless? I don't think it's going to work. The points that we have been making about selection, the points we were making of forward planning, it's just not really encouraging at all. Here's hoping that Roach is back. We can rotate Shamar Joseph and Seals with Roach. Let's see who will be Moti's spinning partner. Let's see who coming at number 3. If we can have Braffett and Louis, I like the look of Louis. He just got to work on the footwork. He got to get a little wristy, but he's someone that can make the necessary adjustment. We have a fairly good middle order. Hope it will be a very nice addition. And we got to use the South African tour to prepare for Bangladesh, to get questions answered, prepare for Bangladesh, and then, of course, we're going to Pakistan. And I agree with Mason. Don't carry a 15 in Pakistan. If you have to pay for a 16 player, for example, pay for it. Don't pinch pennies. I mean, you want to make sure you have all of the box covered, all of the box covered. Now, is there any little light at the end of the tunnel because of some of the outstanding performances in Trinidad? Are they all wrong, Andrew?
That's the good Springer you're talking about. Well, by the way, both of these guys played for the Windwards, and both of them who made centuries played for the Windwards this year, by the way. Andrew, yes? How do you see a turnaround?
Well, it's going to be difficult. I mean, you know the late, great Tony Cozier, I remember just before he died, he said that he didn't think in his lifetime that, I mean, given the fact that the cricket was so poor and Tony passed, in 2016, so that's been a pretty long time. I remember him saying that, look, he doesn't see a turnaround. And, you know, you're getting so disappointed in what's happening in West Indies cricket to the point where I think people are beginning to lose interest in the game. I mean, the way that we performed in England does not inspire confidence at all. And when you have this system now of having just a head coach pick the team, you know, it doesn't make sense at all. And when you get these decisions being made, you begin to wonder exactly what's going on in our cricket. In terms of the positives, I thought that young Hodge, well, let's say younger, she's 32 now, has been knocking around for some time. I thought he batted very positively, put away the bad ball, and he would have been, along with Jaden Seals, coming over to England, the positives, players. I mean, Ataday's got 1 or 2 useful scores, and of course the keeper got 82. So there's still some light at the end of the tunnel. I'm going to be interested to see the construct of the side. Remember, the 2 test matches are going to be played on pitches that should support the spinners in Trinidad and in Guyana. Who will partner Moti is going to be a very, very interesting one. Will they go with the 2 spinners? Will someone like a Joseph play? I certainly wouldn't play him in the test match. What's the situation with Shabar Joseph? He looked a little bit undercooked, and I think that's as a result of not playing a lot of cricket. But there's got to be a focus on the first test. But the reality is that many people don't even know that there is a test match starting in a couple of days' time.
You are correct. You're correct.
It is very true. Where's the marketing? Where's the marketing?
Just a point to support Andrew. Someone who saw the game at the Brian Lara said that there were no spectators today. Now, I had a emancipation event to go to, so I couldn't sort of have a look. But there was a link on 360. There were nobody at the ground. Just to back up, we don't have a test match anybody knows about, and the 3-day game. I mean, you couldn't get some secondary school children. You couldn't open the gates to women. Open the gates, period. But
yeah,
that kind of creative thinking just doesn't happen.
That's backward thinking, man.
Yeah. Yes. I have one area that I want to raise very quickly, Sibo. We've seen a lot of the international teams going beyond playing cricket, either with the bat or the ball, and developing their mental capacities to concentrate and produce high quality output over an extended period of time. That's for Andrew and Rez. How can we in the West Indies get our players mentally prepared?
Rez, you want to take that, or shall I go first?
You go first. I just finished.
More conditioning.
Well, you know, the great Sir Andy Roberts always makes the point that a lot of this stuff has to do with personal responsibility, and he's so right. When Sibo played for the Combined Islands, nobody told Sibo that he had to train.
Thank you very much.
And no, it is very true. It is.
I'm telling you, you're right.
No, perfectly correct. I mean, I would see when Daniel running through but he's a country boy like myself. Joe Garner running about Barbados. They told me Michael Holden would always be around. These fellows train naturally. You know, Andy, I was talking to him a couple of days ago. He said he would run around Antigua. So these fellas knew the importance of fitness, and it's something that I've spoken about a long time now. We've got to be fit, because if you're fit, you think better. If
Thank
you're
you very
unfit,
much.
you lose
Very
concentration. I mean, not only in cricket, but anything in life. I mean, if you're unfit, you lose concentration. Are you telling me that people don't know that? Come on.
But look, and
Anyway,
secondly,
gentlemen, we have to close this conversation now. We're running out of time.
Already? I thought we just started.
It's almost 8 o'clock. Thank you to you. Thank you to Reds. There's a touch.
Can I have
Go ahead, Red.
seconds?
Yeah, go ahead quickly. Yeah, go ahead.
I would like to ask the Minister of Sport in Dominica to meet with the Boxing Association.
Oh, go ahead, yeah.
Why they did not come to the OECS Boxing Championship.
Oh!
When they listen, Reds, I am sure they will answer you.
And Sibo, you know the Minister of Sports well, don't you?
I don't know. I don't know a few of them, but I know something. I know Mr. Oscar Georgia. So, Reds, ask the question again before you go.
I'd like the Minister of Sport in Dominica to meet with the Boxing Association and ask them why did they not attend the OECS Boxing Championship. There were 4 tickets along whatever they might have had to raise to use to send 4 Dominican boxers. A missed opportunity. But I don't want to prejudge. Ask the minister, please, to meet with them, because it appears that they have left the main international body, AIBA. They have gone to join, I want to use the word loosely, a rebel group, which includes the U.S.
Oh, no.
So that's all I ask, Sibo, before I say good night, and thank you very much.
Thank you. So,
Sibo,
thank you,
Sibo, if I could just get 30 seconds, I'm
Yes,
sure
go
going
ahead.
to speak to the minister, because I know you have his number and you all talk very often, but that's another story. What are you going to be doing for the return of Jorge Martinez? Wasn't it brilliant? Amazing to see 2 Dominicans meet at the crease and put on that wonderful partnership. The people of Dominica must be very happy, and I hope that you do something for Jorge. He made 100. Come on, man.
Well, when they're hearing you, Andrew, and I hope they do something. They're hearing you. Thank you very much, both you and Reds. Thank you so much. We'll
All
talk
the
again.
best. Have a good
Thank
night,
you, man.
gentlemen.
Thank you, man.
Bye-bye.
We're going to take a break now, quickly. We're going to take a break now. Thank you.
Good night.
And they all confess, shop at SCS. You get more for life, they say. Shop at SCS. Shop at SCS. Yeah. Shop at SCS. Shop at SCS. What they say? Shop at SCS. SCS family, customer friendly. With 3 locations, it's so convenient. And our prices, they are the nicest. Madam and Mister, that's where you belong. So tell your mama, tell your papa, shop at SCS. Tell your son and your daughter, shop at SCS. Auntie, nan, and cousin, friend, open power, all of them. Grandma, grandpa, open neighbor, girlfriend, boyfriend, side. What? Shop at SCS. Shop at SCS. Shop at SCS. Shop at SCS. Check us out at Portersville, High Street, and downtown Roseau.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, Portland and tile cement, steel rods, galvanized and fenced pipe, and Rudolph Thomas can meet all your wire needs. Galvanized roofing sheets, doors, windows, toilet sets, face basins, and bidets. PVC piping, fittings, and lattice. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. And Rudolph Thomas is your one-stop shop for hard-to-find items like fiberglass mat and fiberglass resin and welding rods. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
The New India Insurance Company has reopened its doors in Portsmouth, offering the same great services you get in Roseau. Motor vehicle insurance, home and business owners, fire and related perils, public liability, and so much more. Come, visit us today for insurance with a personal touch on Bay Street, Portsmouth, or call us at 445-4023. We are ready to serve you.
We're back? Okay, we are back. Gentlemen, the Dominica team has been selected. They leave on Sunday for St. Lucia for the Windward Islands 50 over competition. The team is Tyrone Fairfield is the captain, Stephen Pascal is the vice captain, Jelani Robinson, Ian Benjamin, Kyron Phillip, Kamal Hamilton, Taj Tavernier, Jed Joseph, Vincent Lewis, Ian Tyson. I'm surprised he's not playing that game in Trinidad. Malachi Xavier, Jassian Alexander, Delaney Alexander, Jassian Vidal. That is the 14. Dominica plays first game on Monday at Mindu Phillip Park in St. Vincent. On Tuesday, they play the Grenada team also at Mindu Phillip Park. Next week, Thursday, they play the St. Lucia team at the Darren Stammy Stadium. The top two teams will play in the final next Friday, and the third and fourth team will play the third and fourth on Friday as well. So the tournament finishes next Friday in St. Lucia. The team reaches home on Saturday next week. Okay? So that's the Dominican team, guys.
No place for Fontaine?
No, that I'm a bit surprised with that one. And by the way, Windward Islands didn't do very well, as you know, Thompson, the tournament in St. Vincent. The Windward came further, fourth. Stephen Pascal in last game made a 50-odd. The averages were miserable in that competition, very miserable. The guys just didn't do well. And the game today, West Indies, the team made 397, Springer made 121, Solozano made 111. The South Africa team at the close were 172 for 2. Makram retired on 82, and Bavuma is on 38 not out. Okay, guys, tomorrow, Leroy John Lewis will be buried. I will be there. I don't know who else will be coming, but I will be at Soufriere tomorrow. And I will encourage a lot of cricketers, people who played with him. He was a teacher as well at the Goodwill School. He was a sports teacher. He'll be buried tomorrow afternoon at the Soufriere Catholic Church.
I hope the Cricket Association, Sebastian, as you said about you'll be there, cricketers, but they are the ones who should be taking a huge lead.
I'm sure they know the funeral is tomorrow. So we have to give Leroy John a good send-off tomorrow afternoon. So, gentlemen, tomorrow, as we said, there's triple jump, first qualification, the finals in Saturday. Dominicans obviously will be looking to be rooting for that girl, Fia Lafont. So, on behalf of Ronald Lander, Dr. Fontaine, Emmanuel LeBlanc, and the man in the console, Number Chats, let me say good night to everybody. You'll hear us again next week. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.